Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Nada Najiha binti Saarani and I am from SR1115D. So I will explain about backpacking. So why important to arrange your camping equipment in backpack properly is because you need to arrange everything you are going to carry with backpack before putting it in. This is allow you to prioritize the order of gear into the backpack. The most important step is when you're packing your backpack, make sure to leave the unnecessary at home. How categorize generally what gear goes where? I will make section of it like A, B, C and D.
The first section is A, medium weight gear, which are sleeping bag, down jacket or equipment, sleeping clothes or anything that is not required until you reach your day of destination. The second section is B, heavy weight gear, which are tent, hydration bladder, food, mess kit, fire starter or other heavy camping gear. The third section is C, light gear, which are hat, glove or lightweight clothing. Last section is D, light gear, which are headlamp, pocket knife, first aid kit, bandana, rope, navigation tools or anything light and you would need it frequently or emergency.
So what equipment to be loaded in your backpack for 2 days and 1 night? The equipment you need to bring are tent, sleeping bag, water bottle, flashlight or headlamp, first aid kit, navigation tools, fire starter, rope, mess kit, pocket knife and also clothing for your camping like underwear, socks, top, footwear, headgear and bandana.
So lay your shirt down on a table or on the floor, wherever you are, and then fold the bottom of the shirt inside out for about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. So now what you're going to do is you're going to fold the sleeves in. Then you're going to fold your shirt in half, bring that sleeve to the middle, and then the other side you're going to fold that over as well. And then you're going to flip it around, make sure that your fold is still equal on both sides, and then you're going to start rolling. And you're going to want to roll it as tight as you can. And make sure if you see any wrinkles forming, just kind of move those out of the way. Just kind of work them out as the roll keeps going, and make it nice and tight. And then do that all the way until you get to the very end. All right. So now that we're at our end, we have a nice roll here. And as you can tell, you got a little pouch here, and fold that over. And make that nice and tight and kind of work its way around as you go around about half the way. And the coil inside should be covered by the sides of that pouch. And there you go. That is an army roll. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to want to start off by doing up the zipper and doing up your button. And then once you got that, you're going to do your fold again. So you're going to fold at the waist. And this one maybe have a little bit more than an inch. Maybe go, maybe to be safe, go 2 inches. And keep in mind when you're working with less elastic material, it's going to be a little bit harder to do the ranger roll, but it's still possible. So again, with the pants here, I have my fold at the top, then I'm going to straighten everything out, make sure that there's no big wrinkles or big folds in it. Once I have that, I'm going to fold just in half, pant leg over pant leg. So then, like usual, you start rolling and you keep it really tight. So again, we've made it to the very top, and we have this little pouch here. We're going to pull that pouch around and enclose the roll that we just did. And remember that this is a little bit harder if your clothing is not elastic. Finally, we are going to ranger roll our socks. So what we're going to do with socks are we're going to lay them on top of each other. One is just a little bit lower than the other. So you have a little bit of room right there. And then you're going to start rolling from the bottom. You're going to roll them together. So, like always, we got to the end, and the sock on the bottom acts as the pouch.
The advantage of properly loading the backpack is that it will make it easier for us to pick up and choose the item we want to use. In addition, it also minimizes the space in the backpack. The disadvantage of improper loading the backpack is that it will be difficult for us to take out the equipment in the bag. For example, we have to take out all the equipment in the bag to find the things we want to use. Also, when we do not arrange the item in the bag, it will be too full and there is no space. It will also be heavy because the equipment are not organized.
I hope you guys can understand my explanation about backpack, and that's all from me. Thank you.
What is orienteering? Orienteering is a competitive or non-competitive recreational activity in which participants use a map and compass to navigate between checkpoints along an unfamiliar course, as in the woods. The history of orienteering begins in the late 19th century in Sweden. The actual term orienteering was first used in 1886 and meant the crossing of unknown land with the aid of a map and a compass. The competitive sport began when the first competition was held for Swedish military officers on 28 May 1893 at the yearly game of the Stockholm garrison. The first civilian competition in Norway on 31 October 1897 was sponsored by TF Sport Club and held near Oslo. Type of orienteering have three, which are: the first one is classic or cross-country, the second one is score orienteering, and the last one is relay orienteering. The first one, classic or cross-country, is a race between control in preset order. The person who completes in the shortest time is the winner. Courses are normally designed and courses must be found using map or follow the ground. The second one, score orienteering, is competitor visit as many as possible within a period of time. There is usually a mass start with a time limit. Different point value are different depends on difficulty. Each minute for a late arrive will be giving point penalty, and competitors with most point is the winner. The last one is relay orienteering. All participants start at the same time. Every teammate will go through different paths, and winner is determined by team total marks. Category of orienteering have 5, which are foot orienteering, ski orienteering, night orienteering, mountain bike orienteering, and the last one is trail orienteering. Foot orienteering is endurance sport, involves huge mental element, and also need to have excellent map reading skills. Construction and ability are need to orienter. Ski orienteering is endurance winter sport. Combining navigations and cross-country skiing are also use a map to navigate of ski trail and to visit control point in the right orders. Night orienteering is night version device in hand night navigations. Detailed analysis of the map is required and smaller steps are taken during night navigations. Mountain bike orienteering is endurance sport attracting both orienteering and mountain bike enthusiasts and also usually organized in forests which have a good and multi-route choice. The last one is trail orienteering is the discipline have been developed to offer everyone including people with limited mobility, and orienter must identify on the ground control point shown on the map. The equipment for orienteering is personal equipment like cap, shoes, sunglasses, whistles, and clothing. Other than that is master map, control marker or flags, puncher and electronic puncher, compass and control card.
Hello and welcome to Compass 101. I'm Carolyn, a naturalist with the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. Today, we're going to go over the fundamentals of a compass, which include the basic parts, how to hold a compass, and the simple steps to follow when using your compass. Now, you might might be wondering why you need to know how to use a compass in this world of computers and GPSs. The simple answer is batteries can die, and clouds and canyons can ruin your GPS's ability to track satellites. So with all the navigational tools out there, you can have a lot of fun on the trail, but knowing how to use a compass can be a real lifesaver. There are various types of compasses, but today we're going to use a compass most people are familiar with, the base plate compass. The basic parts are the direction of travel arrow, out here. I like to call it the direction of go arrow, so that I can call it the dog, since I always follow my dog on a walk, and you will follow this arrow on your walks and hikes. The next part is the dial, here. It rotates freely, so you don't have to be afraid you're going to break it. It was meant to spin. You will notice the little N on the outer rim, which stands for north, and many will have a W, S, and E for the other cardinal points. The numbers are the various degrees. As you spin the dial, notice the arrow that points to the N, as that will be called the shed, as it looks a little bit like a small shed. Last, but most important, is the needle. This is what points to magnetic north, and most, if not all, will be colored red. We can call this arrow that bobs about freely in the compass casing, Fred. Those are the parts. Now, how to hold your compass. Remember, north is never up in the sky, so hold your compass nice and flat. That will allow our needle, Fred, to point towards north. Also, since compasses work off the Earth's magnetic field, never hold it near a metal object that will throw things off. Now, the simple steps on how to use a compass. First, point your dog, the direction of go arrow, away from yourself and hold it level. Second, turn the dial so that the direction you want to go lines up with that cleverly named direction of go arrow. For example, I want to go west, so I'll align the W up with the dog. Now remember, the important part is to turn yourself, not just the compass, until our red needle, Fred, lines up with the north-facing arrow, the shed. Or put red Fred in the shed. Once red Fred is in the shed and you've turned yourself, not just the compass, you are now facing west. Congratulations, you've just begun the exciting journey of how to use a compass. You're well on your way to adventures in your local neighborhood, park, and maybe even further. I'll look forward to seeing you out on the trail with your trusty friend, the compass.
How to use control flat and punches.
Annika, who are running a poison now. Vincent and Annika don't want to follow one another because they don't have to get the controls in any order. They also may have different maps, and so they don't want to get the wrong controls. Vincent appears to have reached his first control and checks the control flag on the map. Once he's sure that he's at the right control, he punches his control sheet, the green paper, into the correct box. Once he punches his control sheet, he looks at the map and determines the best route for the next control. For every correct control you visit, you will get 1 point. It is important that you punch the control into the correct slot on your control sheet, like Annika. Otherwise, you might not score your best. Annika punches her control sheet by putting the control sheet in between the red pictures, lining up the control sheet so that's under the correct box, and squeezing the red pictures. This should make an imprint on your control sheet.
So now we go to the next point, that is the usage of the control card, means control card or scorecard. So this card, the participant must punch at this card, then carried by each participant to verify that you visited all the checkpoint or control points, right? And then this card must be submitted to timekeeper, and then go to finish line to get finish time record. So the example of the card, this is. So the next point is we go to the format of the competition. Orientary event can be classified in many different aspects by method of travel, such as foot orienteering, ski orienteering, and motorbike orienteering. And then by the length, that is the sprint, middle, long. And then by the time the competition was held, day and night. By the number of competitors, individual, team, and relay. And then lastly is by the visiting order of controls, that is cross country in a specific order, score free to decide order. Okay, for the long, classic orienteering involves a race between control in a preset order. The winner is the person who completes the course in the shortest time. And then for the middle distance is a shorter cross country race than the classic or long, with a winning time in the region of 30 minutes and with an emphasis more on point negotiation than route choice. For the relay, a relay race is run by a team of competitors, each running a course, and the result is based on the team total time. Relay usually employ a mass start instead of a staggered start. Relay are part of World Orienteering Championship, both as sprint relays and as cross-country relays. For the score, competitors visit as many controls as possible within a time limit. There is usually a mass start rather than staggered with a time limit. Control may have different point values depending on difficulty, and there is a point penalty for each minute late. So next, for the sprint, very short race with winning times in the region of 12 to 15 minutes, often held in city parks and other more urban settings. So next is the ultra sprint. Ultra sprint events are held in a specially constructed labyrinth. Due to the limit area of the labyrinth, ultra sprint is a more spectator-friendly form of orienteering. Next is the night orienteering. Competitors use a headlamp to navigate in the dark. Reflective markers often are used on control point flags, which shift the tactic from precision navigation to searching. So the second last is the string. Competitors follow a string around a shorter course, noting down things that they find on the way. This is generally used by young children and people new to the sport who want to find out what it is like. And then lastly is the precision orienteering. Precision orienteering generally is not a speed event, but rather a test of the competitor's ability to precisely match map and terrain. Example include Trail O, that is the trail orienteering, ultimate, track style mountain orienteering, and radio orienteering in a compact area. Both Trail O and Roca use decoys in the vicinity of the control point. So next we go to the cross safety. So I explain about the ethical consideration in orienteering. So number one is the orienters should not follow other participants. Orienters should not discuss the course with other participants while still on the course. Orienters who ask for help should be shown their location on the map and then reported to an official at the finish. Number 4 is orienters who have finished a course should not divulge information about the course, map or terrain to others who have not yet started. So last is the orienters shall respect the land and wilderness environment. So the safety, number 1 is orienters should wear protective clothing appropriate for the terrain and conditions. Number 2 is orienters must carry a safety whistle during the event. Number 3, orienters must report to the finish official whether they are finished to course or not and must hand in their map to the finish personnel. Number 4 is orienters must aid any injured participants they encounter on their course. Number 5 is orienters crossing roads or railways must observe traffic rules. And last is the orienteering organizers should provide safety bearing information to all competitors. So the next one is the rules. Number 1 is orienters shall not damage, hide or remove any control during an event. Number 2 is orienters may only use a compass plus the map provided by the organizer during the event. Number 3 is orienters must visit the control in the specified order in a point-to-point orienteering the event. Number 4 is the orienters must not cross area marked on the map as uncrossable or out of bounds. Number 5 is the orienters shall not damage property such as fences, gates or equipment. And lastly is the orienters shall not cross through gardens or fields with newly planted or growing crops.
Alright, now it's my turn to explain about advantages and disadvantages of orienteering. We have a few advantages of orienteering, which is increased fitness level, balance between the physical and the mind, increased self-esteem and self-confidence, enjoying the time with nature, and last is can be very useful and even life-saving. First is increased fitness level. Most orienteering terrains is quite hilly and rugged. providing the perfect environment for athletes and non-athletes alike to develop strong heart, lung, and legs. Second is balance between the physical and the mind. The ultimate goal for the orienteer is to find that balance between mental and physical exertion, to know how fast they can go and still be able to interpret the terrain around them and execute their route successfully. Third is increased self-esteem and self-confidence. It takes courage, endurance, and mental fortitude to forge ahead by oneself through unknown area, particularly in unfamiliar terrain and forests. Every time one gets lost and find their way again, self-worth and self-esteem will grow. Next is enjoying time with nature. There is nothing more calming and centering than being in nature. We wrote about the healthy benefit of relaxing in nature, but exercising outdoor is good for vitamin D levels in the body and getting fresh air. And the last point is can be useful and even life-saving. This sport teaches self-reliance and endurance discovery to the point where it could save lives. Orienteers acquire the skill and the technique to relocate themselves and to continue on to their destination no matter what. There's a few disadvantages of orienteering. First is less chance to win, which is orienteering activities promote friendships, and there is still a minimum possibility that the loser might not be able to take the defeat smoothly, which could bring the challenge to a different and favorable level. Second is fail to prepare ourselves, which is losing is also its greater range when the participant fail to prepare himself for the orienteering. And last point is complicated situation when the participant will no longer be able to think clearly and effectively, which is basically needed most especially for decision making, and not to mention the other effects of hunger and thirst to the human body will lead to failure and might just complicate the situation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afif Lukman bin Ulul Izman. I'm from RSR 1115D. I will present about kayak. First of all, what is kayak? The kayak probably originated from Greenland, where it was used by the Eskimos, while the canoe was used all over the world. The word of kayak, kiak, meaning man boat in Eskimos, was found predominantly in the northern part of world, North America, Siberia, and also Greenland. Kayak have three types of kayak. The number one is Mendesta. The lower part is V-shaped. And number two is we call slalom. The bottom of this type boat is U-shaped or flat. And the last one is otter sport. The bottom and top of the boat, D is an O or round anatomy of kayak. I will explain by using the pictures. For the number one, anatomy of kayak is hull and deck. Number two, deck. Number three, combing. Number four, grab handle. Number five, seat. Number 6 is dead hash, and the last one is dead line. Next video, I will show you about 5 types of PFD, personal floating device.
Types of personal flotation devices. Type 1, PFD. Provides the most buoyancy. It is good for all waters, especially open, rough, or remote waters where rescue may be delayed. It is designed to turn most unconscious wearers in the water to a face-up position. Type 2, PFD. Is for calm inland water or where there is a good chance of quick rescue. This type will turn some unconscious wearers to a face-up position. The turning action is not as pronounced nor as effective as a Type 1. Type 3 PFD. For calm inland water or where there is a good chance of quick rescue. This type will not turn unconscious wearers to a face-up position. The wearer may have to tilt his or her head back to avoid turning face down. Type 4 PFD. Is for calm inland water, heavy traffic areas where help is always present. It is designed to be thrown to a person in the water who grasps and holds onto it until rescued. A Type 5 PFD. It automatically inflates when entering the water. It contains a small amount of inherent buoyancy and an inflatable chamber. You must wear it while underway for it to be legal.
In kayak, we have 7 types of technique to pedaling. Number 1. Forward stroke. Main pedal stroke used in kayaking. Forward pedal stroke start at the front of the boat, run parallel to the boat and finish behind you, like this. Number 2. Backstroke. Backwards pedal stroke start at the back of the boat, run parallel to the boat and finish in front of you. It is the main pedal stroke used for moving backward. Like this. And the number 3 is forward sweep. The forward sweep is the pedal stroke used to initiate a spin or turn and is often used to help steer the boat when pedaling down a rapid or surfing a wave. It is a wide low pedal stroke that can be used to turn the boat while stationary or on the move. Number 4. Backward sweep. The backward sweep is the pedal stroke used to initiate a spin or turn and is often used to help steer the boat while pedaling down a rapid or surfing a wave. It is a wide low pedal stroke that can be used to turn the boat while stationary on the sweep. Like this. Alright. Number 5. Alternate combination 360 stroke. It is the main pedal stroke used for make a fully rotation while kayaking. Instead of doing alternate combination 360 stroke, do a double forward stroke pedal technique on the right side of kayak. Like this. Do double. Then do a double backward stroke on your left side of kayak. Like this. Remember, double. Alright. And the last one of technique in pedaling is draw stroke. The draw stroke is the pedal stroke used to move your boat side away. The basic concept of draw stroke is that we can use the pedal placed out in the water parallel with the side of the boat to pull our boat side. Like this. Continue with 3 techniques of rescue in kayak. Number 1. S-rescue. The S-rescue is actually considered to be one of the easiest rescue technique. It also called as T-rescue. Instead of doing S-rescue, you need move up so that your cockpit is right next to the bow of the kayak. Lift the bow and out of the water and turn the kayak up. Roll the kayak onto each side so that the water will drain out. Then, put the kayak back into the water. Try to arrange it so that the stern of empty kayak swing over close to the bow of your kayak. This is to make sure it's easier for the person that you are helping to get back into their kayak. And the last one is put the pedal across both of cockpit and by leaning most or all of your weight over onto their kayak. This will hold the kayak steady so that they can pull themselves back up into the kayak. For the H rescue, some of rescue techniques such as the T rescue and S rescue will only need to be performed by a single kayakers. But in this H rescue, they need 2 kayakers. Alright, instead of doing H rescue, 2 rescue kayak will need to move closer to the capsize of kayak. Number 2, the capsize kayak is then lift up on the 2 kayaks. By rocking the kayak from side to side, you will able to drain off the water out. And the last one is simply place the kayak onto the water and help the kayakers get back on it. Alright, the last one rescue is we call height rescue. The height rescue is a useful rescue technique if you have 2 kayakers to help. It also same like H rescue. Instead doing the high rescue, both of the rescuing kayak need to move up near the capsize kayak. Alright. Number 2. The 2 rescuing kayak should move close to one another and place their pedal across between the 2 kayak. The capsize kayak is then lift up between the 2 kayak and hold on the pedals. The rescue kayakers will then rock the capsize kayak back and fall out of the water to make sure that all the water drain out of the cockpit. That's all for the technique of rescue. We have 4 type of signal in kayak. Number 1, stop. Number 2, rough. Number 3, direction left or right. And the last one is emergency. Alright, we continue with kayak formation. They have 4 types of kayak formation. I will explain by using the pictures. Number 1, diamond. Number 2, single line. Number 3, double line. Number 4, at breeze. We continue with advantages and disadvantages in kayak. Advantages in kayak: easy to use, ease of management training and swimming in the kayak. Good for beginners, very high primary stability in most models, provide significantly more storage space, rear-type bags, container and others. They may be multifunction for fishing and diving, for example. Have an excellent primary stability, last seat provide excellent visibility, and the last one is usually a bit cheaper than kayak sit-in. And the disadvantages in kayak is openness to external factors. There is a lot of inconveniences in bed, especially rainy weather, hence the somewhat limited range of use of kayak for a year. Many owners of the kayak argue that this kayak is wet. The lower part of the body rower under any condition will be wet. My feet almost all the time will puddle of the water that collects in the cockpit. To solve this problem, most models have drain holes that could close the special plugs. But according to the owners of kayaks, they are not too helpful. That is why the kayak can be called a summer kayak. That's all from me.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Sarah Nafisa binti Syamsul Azhar and I am from RSR 115D. I will explain to you about my topic, which is abseiling. Abseiling is physically very simple and also reasonably difficult. Abseiling can be a fun sport and an incredible venue for physiological and mental improvement for useful members. For your information, the words of abseiling come from a German word which is abseilen, which means to rope down, and abseiling, also known as rappelling, from French word repeller, which is to recall or to pull through. The definition of abseiling is the sport or activity of descending a rope face or others near a vertical surface by using a double rope called round body and fixed at a higher point. History of abseiling is the origin of this climbing technique is attributed to John Charlotte Stratton, who was a German guide who lived from 1814 until 1925. He was the founder of the abseiling method of roping down from a cliff. Charlotte originally devised the technique of the abseil method of roping down during a first solo attempt of Petit Trou in 1876. After many attempts, some of them solo, he managed to reach the summit of the Petit Trou in 1879 in the company of 2 other High Germanic guides, which is Prosper Payet and Frederick Folliquet. During the ascent, Charlotte finally mastered the technique. Next is the equipment that we need for abseiling activities. Number 1 is rope. There are many different types of rope that are used by those who are abseiling or rappelling. Typically, a low stretch rope is the best option for recreational abseiling. This type of rope should have around 2% stretch when under load with a percent of average weight. Referred to as a static rope, it helps to reduce bouncing for an easier descent. Second is descender or belay and rappel device. Belay device causes friction on the rope, helping you to control the speed of your abseil to a manageable level. The speed at which the person descends can be controlled via this device. There are many different versions of this device, which is breaking bars, the figure 8, the gold tail, the bobbin and its self-locking alternative, the stop, and the sky genius. Third is locking carabiner. A carabiner is essentially a large clip that is used to hold all the different parts of a climbing system together. Locking carabiner is where the clip part locks shut or essentially as they ensure the clip does not come open during descent. The primary role of the carabiner is to attach the descender to the harness and also use experienced climber to create backup nodes. Fourth is climbing harness. When abseiling or rappelling, a harness is used around the waist to secure the descender. Next is anchor. Anchor used to secure the rope at the top of the descent. Anchor vary depending on the situation. Anchors can be natural, like ropes and tree, or man-made like an abseil bolt at the top of the building. Number 6 is helmet. Helmets are an essential safety item, especially for experienced rappellers who descend cliff faces where loose rock are a potential issues. Number 7 is glove. Glove serves to protect your hand from the rope as you descend, make the process more comfortable. Gloves are nearly always used by recreational abseilers, especially in higher risk situations, which could prove very dangerous when not in a controlled setting. The last equipment is boots. The most important thing is to have sole with an adequate amount of grip, as it allows you to maintain traction with the wall during descent. Anatomy of curved rope. Some traditional rope will have those twists of fiber with different strength to create that strong, dense material. The curved rope have an interior section which is strong interior current or core protected by a woven exterior section which is metal or shield around it. These ropes are strong and flexible, mainly used for climbing and rappelling. The core fibers provide the tensile strength of the rope while the mantle or sheets protect the core from abrasion during use. Next is anatomy of seat harness. First is waist belt. It's the wide opening at the top of the harness that you tighten above your waist to make sure you don't fall out of the harness. Second is leg loops, help you to stay upright during a fall and they efficiently disperse weight when you are hanging in the harness. Third is belay loops, which is a strength rate to handle hard falls, and it is super strong loop on the front of the harness where to attach the carabiner and belay device. Fourth is gear loops. This loop to hold your climbing gears such as quick draws, cams, stoppers. They all get clipped onto your harness for easy carrying while you climb. Next is tie-in loop. Tie-in loop is an exactly that a loop of strong, rigid webbing sewn into the front of the waistband. When you tie your rope into your harness, the rope is threaded through the leg loops cross piece at the bottom, then up through the tie-in loops, which tightly secure the rope to both parts of the harness and distributes your weight on both parts in your fall or hang on the ropes. Next is a buckles. Is how you fine-tune the fit perfectly to your frame. These things are often double-packed so they can take a bit of effort to adjust, but it's worth it to get a snug fit. And the last point is elastic rises. These straps are used to adjust the rise of your harness or the distance between your leg loops and waist belt. This has a big effect on how comfortably you hang. There's a lot of rope care, do and don'ts that we need to know, which is inspect the rope, don't step on the rope, use a rope bag, keep rope clean like wash your rope, keep your rope in storage, uncoil the rope, untwist the rope, repair minor rope damage, replace climbing rope regularly, coiling the rope, avoid sharp angles, avoid kinks and avoid abrasions, avoid overloading, and avoid chemicals. There are steps the proper technique of abseiling. The first step is check and make sure the condition of the anchor is good and you can attach the rope to the anchor. Second is prepare to throw the ropes down. It's better to do this one rope at a time. Starting from the end, stack one rope in coils over your arms. Third, you must shout rope to anyone who may be in the area below. When you are certain that no one could get hit by your ropes, then you can throw them. Fourth, pull up about a meter of both strands of rope. Next, push the rope through your belay device, making sure it is orientated the correct way up. Clip both of the rope and your belay device through the screw gauge carabiner and attach to your belay loops, then fasten it. For most abscess, it's wise to back up with a prusik knot. A correctly tied prusik knot will auto-lock if you let go of the rope. Wrap the prusik around both ropes a few times and then clip the end together with a screw gas carabiner and clip the prusik to your leg loops. Next, with one hand holding both ropes in the lock-off position and put your second hand over the prusik. Your hands should be in the same position as they would to lower a climber while belaying. While keeping a firm grip, lean your weight back and allow some rope to go through your belay device and remembering to slide the prusik down as you go. The last step is sit back in your harness and keep your body in an L shape with your feet wide apart. Walk backwards down the rock and making sure to look behind to see where you are going. Move smoothly down the ropes. Next is the advantages and disadvantages of abseiling. The advantages of abseiling, number one is upgrading eye-hand coordination. The game practice the system of hand development exactness and visual understanding in the meantime. Second is improvement of observation and social skills. Legitimate abseiling preparing an introduction combined with sharp understanding is the way to fruitful and huge abseiling knowledge. Third is confidence building. Abseiling gives a member a feeling of accomplished for different reasons. Some may be an accomplished in coming over their fears of heights. Others may be a sense of achievement in conquering greater heights. In abseiling, confidence building is developed even in the early parts of training and orientation. Next is improve physical and mental health. For physical, abseiling is one of the best total body workout available, and for mentals, by achieving something which once seems impossible, it forces the abseilers to realize their true abilities versus their perceived abilities, can increasing confidence. When put into perspective of what has already been accomplished, anything seems possible. And the last point is social benefits. Although the practice of abseiling is essentially you versus yourself, it can still be regarded as a team sport because you are never alone. You will either be abseiled with a group of friends, schoolmates, college or families, which can build character and leadership skills. There's a few disadvantages of abseiling. Number one is environmental condition, like weather condition before and during activities. Second is equipment failure, like a failure of abseiling hardware or structure occurs and causes injury or death. Third is height, like a sense fear of height can lead them falling from vertical surface during an abseiling session. Next is entanglement, like the hair or clothing is stuck in abseil equipment, can cause injury or distress. And last is physical exertion, like feel of exhaustion and fatigue or sprain and strain on muscle. Lastly, the conclusion that I can conclude is all the information that I said before about abseiling activities are the basics of abseiling and a broad overview of the equipment and technique that you will need to perform a controlled abseil. It is always better to take time to train and practice about abseiling that you are prepared and more confident in your abilities. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Syamil Masjidan. I'm from RSR 1115D. So today I will present about the survival in outdoor recreation. So I will go the definition of survival first. So definition of survival is the state of fact of continuing to live or exist happily in spite of an accident, ordeal or difficult circumstance. Life through a dangerous situation in which it was possible that they might die. Important things to remember is we do right dressings, blend your clothes with jungle, stay calm and focused, stay in right company like bag, medical aid and other necessary items. And then do not feed animals, littering, playing and not focus, stay away from animal, no loud talks, and then child trouble or fire alert. Next we go to the rules of 3 is survival. Okay, in survival situation, it is better to remember and prioritize by the 4 level of the survival rules of 3. So number 1 is human can survive for 3 minutes without air, oxygen, or in icy water. Second is human can survive for 3 hours without shelter in a harsh environment, that is unless in icy water. The third is humans can survive 3 days without water if sheltered from a harsh environment. And then lastly is humans can survive for 3 weeks without food if you have water and shelter. We go to the universal edibility plant test. So choosing which food to eat in the wild can either make or break you. Then if you are starving and don't know what's safe to eat, follow this protocol or rules. Before that, how many plants are edible? So this work, there are over 20,000 species of edible plants in the world, yet fewer than 20 species now provide 90% of our food. However, there are hundreds of less well-known edible plants from all around the world, which are both delicious and nutritious. Eating even a tiny bite of a toxic plant can cause extreme gastrointestinal problems or even death. Survival experts devise this test to determine a plant's edibility. When in doubt, follow this step before chowing down. It's a slow process but necessary. Now I will show you to taste edible plant. They have 4 tests. So number 1 is place a piece of the plant on your inner elbow or wrist. Okay, like this. This is an example. At elbow or wrist for a few minutes. And then if your skin burns, itches, feels numb or breaks out in a rash, don't eat the plant. Number 2, touch the plant to your lips to test for burning or itching. Number 3, if the lip test pass touch to the inside of your mouth and allow 15 minutes for adverse reactions. If the plant tastes very bitter or soapy, spit it out like this. Spit it out. So the last step is after eating a small taste with no ill reaction for 8 hours, you can then eat 1 handful and again wait 8 hours before concluding the food is good to go. One more thing, repeat the test for other parts of the plant. Some plants have both edible and inedible parts. This is the type of edible plants. So number 1 is sunflower, chicory, wood sorrel, and melon. I will show you the video, the other people video, make edible plants.
Step 1. Separate the plants into its different parts. Leaves, stems, roots, flowers, etc. Smell the plant for any strong odors. If the plant smells particularly foul or acidic, discontinue the process. Pick a component of the plant and... Step 2. Patch test a portion on a sensitive body part. No, not what you're thinking. The inside of the wrists and elbows are good places for patch testing. Secure the sample to one of those areas and wait 15 minutes. If you don't notice an allergic reaction, continue on to step 3. Break your leaves or stems, whichever component you chose in step 1, down into a smaller sample for further testing. Hold the sample on the outer surface of your bottom lip and wait 3 to 5 minutes to test for burning or itching. No reaction? Great! Continue on to step 4. Step 4. Put it in your mouth. But don't be hasty. Without chewing the plant, keep it in your mouth for 15 minutes. If no negative reactions are observed in that time, chew the plant thoroughly and, you guessed it, keep it in your mouth for yet another 15 minutes. Step 5. Eat the sample. And wait. Again. 8 hours this time. If you become sick or have any adverse reactions, induce vomiting and get hydrated. If not, prepare about a half cup of the plant and eat it. Then wait another entirely too long 8 hours. Didn't get sick? Perfect.
Alright, hope you all understand about the video, and the explanation about the edible plants is same like I explained before. So that's all from me. Thank you.